Let's have a look and see what's new on Amazon Prime for the fortnight of the 9th to the 22nd of November. Apologies for not getting a video up last week. There was an incident involving a toddler, his finger and my eyes. However, now I'm back, and so is Charles Dickens' classic A Christmas Carol by Robert Zemeckis, starring Jim Carrey, just in time for... Christmas is coming. As it's Christmas, Tommy Lee Jones, Hilary Swank and Meryl Streep star in The Homesman, an epic western. And if ever there was a man to direct a western, it's Tommy Lee Jones. He has a great track record, and this looks like one that has to be watched by all. Probably on Christmas Day. Gravity is the story of Sandra Bullock in her pants. I don't remember much else. Oh, no, wait, George Clooney was there, smiling and grinning, and someone got lost in space. It's a marvellous special effects adventure. Personally, I would have preferred to see it done practically, but that's probably a wee bit out of this world. The Gunman has echoes of Liam Neeson's Taken franchise, and it's one of those typical revenge thrillers that have been very popular at the box office so far. It also stars Ray Winstone, Javier Bardem and Idris Elba. To be quite honest, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I know it got slammed at the box office with people saying that it didn't have enough action in it, but it's a very competent action thriller. There is quite a bit of action. There's enough storyline to keep it going. I thoroughly recommend it for a Thursday night viewing. A recent update to Nancy Drew for modern audiences stars Emma Roberts and Craig Jellis about a teenage detective, Nancy Drew, and her father who move to a new house with a complicated history. I've yet to see a bad review for this film, and it might just be charming entertainment for the family. A modern comedy satire is Carnage, starring Jodie Foster, Kate Winslet, John C. Reilly and Christopher Waltz. Really didn't get the audience that it deserved on its release in 2007, and might be worth checking out now. There are now 15 seasons of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl available. It's some TV show about Pokemon. I don't know if it's a new one or an old one or something, but it seems to be going for a good few years. Kids will be excited about it, I'm sure. How Stella Got Her Groove Back looks to be a romantic comedy about a woman who's really busy all the time and manages to find herself and a man with the help of Whoopi Goldberg along the way. Angela Bassett stars. Never seen it, and can't say I ever will. It's Amazon Prime's pilot season at the moment, and Into the Badlands is another one. We have a pilot episode here about a mysterious boy who harbours a dark secret, but also may know the way out of the Badlands. So they are trying to get out of the Badlands, despite the fact the show was called Into the Badlands. I'll watch it and see what it's like. The first season of Nowhere Boys is now available, about 4 boys who get lost in the woods, and by the time they find their way back, they discovered everything is different at their homestead. Amazon have made a second season of their highly popular original show, Transparent, starring Jeffrey Tambor. En Equilibre is a French drama directed by Denis Durkant about an equestrian stuntman who has a serious accident which traumatically injures him, and he loses all hope of ever getting back on a horse. Jungle Book 2 is the sequel to the 1967 Disney's Jungle Book. This is not based on the second Jungle Book, which was written by Rudyard Kipling. Instead, they went with their own sequel, featuring an all-new storyline. Broke Down Palace is a story of friendship in Thailand about 2 girls who get thrust into prison together. It's worth checking out. It's pretty powerful, if a little flawed, but surefire entertainment with an early performance from Claire Danes, Kate Beckinsale and Bill Pullman. Torque is essentially Fast and the Furious on motorcycles. No more, no less. Stars Dane Cook and Ice Cube. If you're a petrol head, you'll probably enjoy it. As the 9th season of Peep Show appears on Channel 4, we have 8 previous seasons on Amazon. Worth running through them again just because they are hilarious. Sinbad The Fifth Voyage is the 4th sequel to The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad from 1958 and carries on the Sinbad legend that has also been played by Lou Ferrigno and amongst others over the last 50 years. This time he has 40 days and 40 nights to rescue his love from an evil sorcerer. Along the way he must battle an army of mythical creatures. I have yet to find a good review of this, with most of them saying an absolute insult to the legend of Sinbad. Another Angela Bassett classic, this time with Whitney Houston and directed by Forrest Whitaker. Waiting to Exhale seems to be very popular amongst the ladies. Disney's I'll Be Home for Christmas is on Amazon now. I remember this coming out when Jonathan Taylor Thomas was a thing, But now looking at the cast list, I realise that there's a young Jessica Biel in it. Memphis Belle has popped up. This was a big release back in 1990. I missed it on its initial run. However, reading through various books, I realised that every up-and-comer was in this movie. I mean, have a look at the cast list. Matthew Modine, Eric Stoltz, Tate Donovan, D.B. Sweeney, Billy Zane, Sean Astin, Harry Connick Jr., David Strathairn, and John Lithgow. What a phenomenal cast in a melodramatic wartime action drama. Red Planet is a pretty enjoyable action sci-fi thriller set on Mars. Val Kilmer leads with Tom Sizemore and Carrie-Anne Moss as astronauts and their robotic dog get stuck on Mars. A lot of people hate this movie, however I found it to be most enjoyable. I like Val Kilmer as a leading man and I think he does good work here. There's some kids pilots as well. Yo-Yo Toki Happy Ears is 12 minutes of cartoon joy from Japan about a young fox on a journey to a magic elf king to grant a wish. Then there's Danger in Eggs, my 3-year-old loved this, about two chums who decide to tackle the world's weirdest water slide. And then there's Everstar, about a 12-year-old who receives a distress call from her local lighthouse and ends up aboard a mysterious spaceship hiding on the other side of the moon. Patriot is a bang-up-to-the-minute thriller series about an intelligence officer John Tavern's assignment to prevent Iran from going nuclear. 3096 Days is a dramatisation of Natasha Campos' kidnapping ordeal that gets a variety of great reviews. Looks like one to watch. Black Coal Thin Ice is a serial killer thriller about a cop who was investigating a gruesome murder, unfortunately retired. However, 5 years later, they're pulled back in when the killing starts again. Recommended by many a critic, with a beautifully layered plot and a realistic emotional character set. Enough Said was a drama that featured the last performance of James Gandolfini alongside Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Catherine Kinnear about fresh starts, first impressions and second chances. On Deadly Ground is a 1994 action thriller and one of Steven Seagal's better movies. That's not saying much. It co-stars Michael Caine as a villain about an oil rig worker that learns that his oil company intends to destroy the Alaskan environment and the livelihoods of the local Inuit population for profit. And he takes them down in a very Steven Seagal-y kind of way. Similarly themed snow movie starring Kate Beckinsale and Sam Rockwell is Snow Angels, a romantic drama about a story of lost love around a small town and snow. Remake of the Michael Caine classic Get Carter starring Sylvester Stallone arrives. It's worth watching if you haven't seen the original Get Carter. If you have, you will hate this movie, although Michael Caine does co-star in it. The Specialist is a by-the-numbers action thriller from the 90s starring Sylvester Stallone and Sharon Stone. It does have a couple of things going for it, however. It has that shower sequence and a perfect example of James Woods walking away with a movie. Another Amazon pilot, Good Girls Revolt. In 1969, the Cultural Revolution swept through the free world, but the newsrooms were refusing to change. A female researcher at News of the Week who asks to be treated fairly, and they managed to make a TV show about the response. The Christmas Miracle of Jonathan Tumley is a festive movie about a grumpy wood carver played by Tom Berenger who has to create a treasured wood nativity set for some kid who lost one. And my pick of the week is easily Pee-wee's Big Adventure. This 1985 comedy movie was sort of designed for children, but very much embraced by adults as well. Stars Paul Rubens and Elizabeth Daly and is directed by Tim Burton before he did Batman. It's absolutely timeless, bonkers, crazy, hilarious, features so many colourful, zany moments, and is something that will stick in the back of your mind for years to come afterwards. Thanks very much for watching, and remember to check out what's new on Netflix.